7:02, I hereby call tonight's Landmarks and Historic Districts Board to order. This is the December 16, 2025 meeting of the Landmarks and Historic Districts Board of the town of Southampton. Present are members Tim Ganettis, Susan Clark, Larry Jones, Jeff Gibbons, Bill Hine, and myself, Stephanie Davis. Absent are Samantha Malone and Vicky Kahn. This meeting is being conducted under town and New York state law that provides for in-person and remote participation. Individuals may undertake remote participation by going to the link on the Landmarks Board agenda or by going to the meeting portal of the Southampton Town Clerk on the town website. Viewer-only observation is found by activating the live link at the top of the town clerk's meeting portal page. Online participation is being moderated by CTV and tonight by Peter. To comment on a particular agenda item, please notify CTV via the chat function so that comments may be made. Commentators will need to provide their name, agency if relevant, and a place of business or residence. And let's see, the first item on our agenda tonight is a very quick announcement. And this is from Kirk Flack. He was enormously grateful to this board for landmarking the Corwin Jones farmhouse, which has just been officially added to the National Register of Historic Places as of December 10 this year. So he wanted to thank us for our efforts on that. I think we wrote a letter in support. So at any rate, he has thanked us for that. Next matter is the November 18, 2025 meeting minutes. Bill had an addition to it, listing not only 33 Quantic Bay Lane, but 31 Quantic Bay Lane. And Susan, you had an addition that I made with respect to Ed's comments in the proclamation, etc., which those were added as well. Does anybody have any other comments, changes to last month's meeting minutes? Hearing none, do I have a motion to accept them? Let's see, Susan, motion. Second, Jeff. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that deals with the minutes. We've all dealt with our email. Minutes. We have two guests tonight. The first guest, I believe, is for 12 John Street. So, Bill, are you ready to present this particular application? Thank you.
Okay, so this is a construction application to add a small shed dormer on the front of an original historic section of a dwelling and a larger shed dormer on the rear of one of the 1979 additions to the dwelling. It also includes replacing several windows, as well as several interior projects. The dwelling AYB is 1791. There was a pre-existing CO issued in 1978, which states the dwelling was built prior to 1957. The framing inside the house shows signs of multiple modifications. The small front dormer is to be added in the second floor bathroom, and the large rear dormer is to be added in the second floor bedroom addition and cannot be seen from the street. The owner reported that the original structure was perhaps moved from the north end of the lot, and also that an extensive renovation took place in 1985. An existing accessory building on the property with an AYB of 1980 is in poor condition and is not included in this application. And there are two recently constructed firewood storage structures located on the northern end of the property and are also not included in this application. Earlier additions to the dwelling were removed and replaced with new extensions in 1979. The framing of the first floor walls in the oldest part of the house, the southwest corner, is rough sawn framing with signs that lath and plaster has been removed. A room may have been removed from the east side of the wall because the markings of the lath and plaster are shown from outside of the footprint of the original structure. So there may have been a wing added or removed from there at some point. There are also heavy timber frames with diagonal braces Roman numeral markings, and wooden pegs. A corner post has indications of previous mortise and tenon joinery and a hole for a wooden peg. There may have been an earlier diagonal brace in that location. A post was cut off to allow for a door opening below it. In the crawl space, the first floor framing is quartered logs with bark still on them. The ends were chamfered to mortise into the original girders. The owner reported that he believed that this portion of the house was originally on the north section of the lot and was moved to its current location and then added on to. This portion of the house does have, well, actually the entire house has a much more modern poured concrete foundation. 12 John Street is not listed in the Southampton Historic Resources Survey, the AKRF, or the historical profile of the hamlet of Quayog. However, 10 John Street is listed and would have been to the north of the subject property. That lot is now vacant, so it could be the house from that lot was then moved to this lot. 10 John Street is number 18 in the historical profile of hamlet of Quayog. It is the Peace House. This small cottage on the east side of John Street, built about 1900 by Frank L. Peace. He was a painter and sometime chauffeur. The property at 12 John Street is not formally listed in the Southampton Historic Resources Survey, but it is listed under the AKRF other properties evaluated in Quayog. Again, it says the house at 10 John Street is a very small single-story building clad in modern shingle siding with unusually narrow vertical side windows. It appears to have been built in the mid to late 20th century. According to the 2008 Quayog survey, the house was built around 1900 by Frank Peace. According to the tax record, it was built in the 18th century and rebuilt in 1987. The structure appears modern. Additional research would be necessary to confirm its modern origin. The reason that it was excluded is the structure appears to lack significance, integrity, but however, additional research may be warranted. On the 1873 historic map, John Street is not yet indicated, and no property owner is noted for that area. On the 1902 historic map, John Street and the subject property are not indicated on the map. The property may have been owned at that time by the W.N. Oakamy estate. On the 1916 historic map, the property is indicated as owned by Jack Shearer and shows a two-story structure. On the 1932 historic map from Bishop, the property continues to be indicated as owned by John G. Shearer, and John Shearer also owned 4 parcels opposite the subject parcel on the west side of John Street. This property does not appear to meet any of the criteria for consideration as a landmark under the Town of Southampton Code. The 1.5-story section of the house is the oldest part of the dwelling, has an AYB of 1791. The front door has been replaced. All of the windows have been replaced some time ago and are now in poor condition and needing replacement again. Some of the windows will be replaced in this project and will be replaced with traditional divided light windows. All of the siding and roofing have previously been replaced. A bay window was added to the south facade. The wing projecting out the rear is a circa 1979 addition. The shed-roofed rear section of the house is a circa 1979 addition on the rear of an earlier addition on the north end of the house. A prefab fireplace was installed with a repurposed mantel from another dwelling. The stairs are covered in carpeting, so the age cannot be determined. A wood-burning stove was located in the rear addition. Although it looks historic, it clearly says on it was made in Taiwan. A beam runs across the northern addition where the shed roof addition meets the earlier addition on the north end of the house. So when you're under the house, there are, well, we'll start there then. This would be the east wall of the early original mass of the house. But as you can see on some of the studs, you can see where lath and plaster were removed. So it seems like there may have been another wing on the rear of the house that no longer exists. So Across the center of the picture is one of the heavy timber pieces. They are mortise and tendoned into the corner posts. There is diagonal bracing, mortise and tendon into those posts. Here and on the next picture, you can see where perhaps on this rear section, one of the diagonal braces was removed and the peg is missing. As you look at those pictures, there's a lot of infill of new framing and renovations that were done. The house to the north on 10 John Street was a one-story house. When we look at these photos, that appears to be a second-floor joist, and in the earlier photo, you could see where there were second-floor studs framing a second-floor wall. So it kind of brings up the question whether that was the house on 10 John Street that was moved here, or if it was just an earlier building that was on 12 and moved to this portion. But you can see here, there's a 3 on the stud coming down in the center, a 3 underneath it. Off to the right, there's a V, I guess, for 5, also on the stud beneath it. So everything is marked that way. Under the floor are the quartered logs with the bark still on them. So that's the oldest timbers that I saw in the house. That could have been 1791. Looking at the post and beam and the rough sawn framing in there, I wouldn't think it was 1791. So some of the notations in the Hamlet Heritage Report stating that it might be a mid 19th century house seems to make more sense, that it would be 1850 or so. There's a small shed dormer to be added to the front. It's to enlarge the head height and a bathroom on the second floor. You wouldn't really see it in this photo, it'd be further down. Here on the rear section of that roof will be a larger dormer to increase the head height in the bedroom on the second floor. But this shed portion and the upper portion are both earlier additions, so they're not part of that original frame. Everything in there is more contemporary framing.
That looked like it had 3 original window openings on the front with that offset door? Or would you think those window
I would think so, but that part of the house hasn't been opened up, so we can't really see the framing to know. It was just where one of the additions met the rear of the house. There was water damage in a portion of that and some things. That wall was opened up so that you could see the framing. Yeah, that's where the location of the dormer on the back will be, and that will not be visible from the street.
According, like looking at your pictures, a lot of the interior has been gutted, some of it, all of it, most of it.
Yep, a good portion of it. On the first floor, yep. The second floor, no.
Is that
No,
current
right, the
work
second
being
floor.
done? Is that current, or is that older work that was done?
I believe it's being done now and would be part of the current permit application.
We
Which,
don't have a permit yet.
no. So we do have the owner here who we can ask some questions when we're done.
Bill, do you think this, I mean, if the the AYB is accurate, 1791, is this the oldest structure standing beside the old Brewster House at 33, Quantuck that's coming down? I mean, do we have any structures this old in?
That I don't know.
No,
Yeah.
I think this would be,
this would be one of the very oldest,
Oldest.
yeah.
Mhm.
just curious.
I
Okay.
mean, there may be a few others out there with frames buried in them like this.
Yeah,
You wouldn't really know this, other than, you know, the AYB may actually reflect the age.
1850, yeah.
just curious if you had, because I was just rattling through, when you hear that date for that area, I mean,
Mhm.
obviously there were houses that could have been older that don't exist anymore, but curious, because the house at 30, what is it, 33, 31, Quantuck that was on the last,
Yes.
yeah, that had a fire and was,
Mhm.
that was an old 18th century house, but
Yeah, I mean, this area really wasn't settled at that point in
Yeah.
time. There were a few houses that were built for the people who were out there, running the cattle,
Right.
just like the Foster Meeker House of the
Right.
West Hampton Historical Museum. But that's really the only, activity that was happening in this
Right, it's
particular
just the
area at that
livestock
time.
being-
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the 1850 date may be more accurate. But I guess you can't bring up the pictures of the floor framing?
I will give it a try again.
Okay.
How far down was the floor framing, Bill?
It would be quite a ways down, probably just past the middle somewhere.
As far down?
No, it's coming. Nope, keep going. There.
There we go.
Okay,
That?
so those are, although it's hard to tell in that picture, they're actually quartered logs, not half with the top flattened off. And then they're sort of mortised into the girder in the center, which then received a helper at some point of some more modern framing. And if you go down, I think another one, yeah, here. The two to the right, those joists have the flat side on them, and that's where you can really tell that they're quartered, not halved.
Yeah, because the larger one there looks like it was halved.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but again, when you start to think that the other side is straight up, and they're
It's
all,
like they did half and then they realized, oops, we need a couple
Yeah.
more in there.
but with that, you could say, that it's older, but once you get to the upstairs, I didn't see any as marks or anything like that on the framing. So, yeah, 1791 just didn't seem to really fit. So I'm not really sure where that number came from for the AYB.
It was unusual to see the Roman numeral markings on sawn lumber like that. I mean, the times that I've seen them, at least in the past, it's always been on timbers like this that
Yeah.
still resemble trees.
Mm-hmm. But it may have been a barn or something that the timber frame was repurposed from, and then all of these rough sawn floor joists and studs and things were added later.
Could have been.
Okay, but we do have the owner architect here, who I guess provided you with
Yeah,
some drawings.
there's some, we can get things to behave themselves here.
And if you want to come up, you can take a seat here and.
Sure.
Yeah, which page of your drawings would you like me to show?
Why don't shall I go right here?
Sure.
Okay. So, thank you, Bill.
You're
That
welcome.
was spectacular, really thorough.
You
I
will
learned-
get a copy of the report.
That would be great. I would really appreciate that. I learned a thing or two having Bill walk around the house. As an architect, the experience is a bit like airing your underwear during a laundry, having your own house looked at by a professional. So I just thought I would say a few words about sort of our history with this house. We were actually living next door since 2000, and we watched this house slide very sadly into disrepair over a long period. And so we bought it actually, to be perfectly honest, as a teardown about 15 years ago, expecting to get no life out of it at all. And we thought we'd captured a big win, and now it turns out it seems to have captured us. We are dearly in love with this house and plan to maintain it and keep it in as good a condition as we possibly can. Obviously, we haven't been great stewards recently, but we hope to turn that around. Am I all good? I can pull this in a little bit. Okay. So yes, as Bill has pointed out, the central mass, maybe if you want to go to about the 4th page.
See what we can do here. Yeah, I have trouble, I will tell you, with this Adobe when I'm working
Grab
on
the
this system.
slider there and drag it down.
I
Or
can't, it just shuts down on me,
Oh, it
so.
does, okay.
But if it's a 4th page, I have to close out of
Can
it.
if I'm in the call, can I share from my screen?
Perhaps, I'm not sure.
Will the owner of the Zoom let me share? I think that person is off screen. Yeah, there you go. Maybe.
Are you on the Zoom meeting?
Yeah, I'm on the meeting.
Okay, what's Jim Taylor?
That's me. Perfect. Okay, so. All right, sharing my screen. How's that? Did that work?
There it is.
No?
Are we good?
Yep, you're good.
So that must be, is that your?
That's his. That's his.
Where am I? Oh, I'm right here. Okay, great. All right, so I'll have to do
This
this with
one's
it behind me.
mine, and
Okay,
that's his.
super. So we're seeing this. Super, okay. All right, so exactly as Bill said, the picture in the bottom right here shows the central mass. It's the post and beam frame. All of the doors and windows are modern, exactly as you said. There's a mishmash of aluminum sliders and vinyl Andersons and weird spring balance windows. This house was sort of brutalized in the late 70s, early 80s, I believe. We took out the aluminum sliders and replaced them about 10 years ago on the east and north sides of the wing. So I'm just going to zoom into that. Is that doing it? Is that zooming for you? Oh, it's a little
no.
behind.
Oh, there we go, yeah.
Okay, so I'll go slow. So you can see in the middle of this picture, the big opening with the two fixed units and the door. That's relatively new. That was the first thing we did, and then we stopped. And then if I pan down to here, you can see from the site diagram, so there's John Street is the little two parallel straight lines on the left, in the center of the image. And then the little pink rectangle is the old part of the house. You can see how the wings were sort of added over time. I'm in total agreement with Bill about the what must have been a salt box at one time, which was then removed because you can see the lath and plaster on the outside of the frame, which is now in our kitchen. Let me go to another page here at the end, and I want to show you the framing plan. Here we go. Pan over here. So what's on the screen right now, you can see they're very small, but there are 6 known or speculative places where there are main posts. Posts 1 and 2, we've seen. 1 I saw when I replaced the front door. I've seen it, it's now covered up again, but it was in there. 2, Bill and I saw after we peeled off the sheetrock from the bathroom hallway there. 3 we saw, 3 was actually cut, I think, probably in that 1979 renovation, because you can see it's in where the door would have been. 4 we've seen, that was in the pictures that Bill showed. 5 and 6 I'm guessing at, I'm fairly sure, I mean, it's pretty obvious they're there, I just haven't seen them because there's still finishes inside that room. In terms of materials, this is the new slide I wanted to show for the renovation that we propose to have done. How do I zoom out on this? Here we go. Okay, so top left, you can see a picture of the front door, which I replaced. It was a vinyl sort of hollow thing that we replaced, I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago. The shingles look like these are the ones from the 1980s. You can see an area where I patched the 1980s shingles. If you look at the top right of the second picture along, see if I can zoom into that. Oops. Okay, this is tough to do on a laptop. Yeah. One more time. Nope, it's not cooperating. All right, well, you can see where my mouse is. So you can see at the very top where the old shingles are, there's evidence that they were originally stained or painted. What we're proposing is, in fact, what we used for the repair, because I could see there was still fragments of stain on the shingles, so we used a pre-stained shingle It looks quite new at the beginning, but the stain washes off after about 4 or 5 years, and then it starts to look like the sort of classic Cape Cod gray color that the shingles go. Third image shows an older batch of shingles from the other side of the house where the stain has now begun to wash off, and you can see the gray appearing just down at the butts of the shingles there. All of the exterior hardware will be unlacquered brass. We used a mortise lock on the front door just to get rid of the nasty looking plate. The windows, if I can afford them, I would like to do some really nice ones. There's a company called Architectural Components in Massachusetts who are still making true mortise and tenon windows, which I think even most of the most of the new manufacturers are not doing that. You get finger jointed garbage. There was no meaningful trim left on this house, so we speculated that there was probably an OG with a back band. So that would be second image, middle row. So this is the one good window we have in the house. And then the sill horn just overlaps a little bit and pushes out to the end of the back band. The roof of the 2 new dormers, one of which you can see in the bottom 3 images, would be lead-coated copper. We speculated a lot about the best way to do this. The slope is too low to get shingles on there. We looked at various different metals, and I think that lead-coated is the only one that will actually really go dull over time and get that really kind of non-shiny look. I think a lot of the zinc and painted metal products these days stay shiny for too long.
What kind of weight are you using in lead coat? 20 ounce?
Microphone.
You know, I got to talk to my builder about that. The sample I have is 20 ounce, and that's another point that, you know, the heavy stuff, I mean, the painted metal is so thin these days. I like the idea of...
Usually specify 20 ounce.
Right.
Larry, you need to have the microphone. Oh.
Yeah.
Just show him to turn his. Yeah, we usually specify 20 ounce just because of the weight of it. And you know, it has a wash coat, obviously, that's
Right.
lead coat. And we now prime it and paint it, given a chance to do
Because
that.
the paint will stick.
Yeah, it's, we've had some instances where the coatings had little spot places that were missed. In other words, the coating didn't adhere for whatever reason, and it creates a cell, and it rots out the copper like
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah,
So
eats it.
we just paint it all.
Paint it all. I just thought I would... fourth image, middle row on the right. That is not a roof, that's a wall, but it's the same idea. It's a standing seam, lead-coated copper. I have a dimension on the drawings here showing that we're keeping the spacing between the seams quite narrow, because these days they're spacing seams like this, which is metal that just wasn't available, you know, 50, 60 years ago, and so it doesn't look real. And then the bottom 3 images are, I just very quickly put together a model to study whether or not the front dormer would be visible from the street in terms of the roof material. So essentially these are as if you're walking down the street. So from north to south is from left to right. So the middle image, you're now standing opposite the house. There's a gap in the hedge where you can see the front door. And, you know, you probably can see the metal if you look hard enough and if you're tall enough, but you know, the slope of the roof keeps it pretty well hidden. Did I have anything else to say? I think that's it. I just want to address the question of the current state of the house. We did actually begin to do some cosmetic interior work, and we found the shower is leaking, and so we stopped. We have a building permit application in, which I got back last week from the inspector, who says, all good to go, just need landmarks and ARB, which he'll set as conditions. But we're not touching anything. Builder has gone home until we're through this process.
Good. Anybody have any questions or issues, observations? I don't see that there's any reason to object to the work that's proposed. Does anybody have any objections or issues with it?
No.
Okay. Bill, would you do the response then?
Yes.
Thank you. All right.
Did I hand back the share okay?
Yes.
Yeah, that was fun.
I'm all good? Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay. And next up, we have 11 Walnut Avenue in East Quogue. Just to refresh everybody's memory on this, this is a property for which a landmarking was proposed. The property has now been landmarked. It's been several years because we had an easement process that was also continuing. It was a parallel path model of this. In the interim, between when our recommendation for landmarking was made and while the easement process ground on, there was a building permit issued for a garage building, which is now under construction. This permit, the application was not submitted to the Landmarks Board for review at the time. Building department did not send it to us, and so we are now in the position of having a new garage under construction under a property that is landmarked, but for which an easement has not yet been issued for the facade of the original home. So at this point in time, we need to come to some agreement as to how to proceed with this matter. I am going to show a 3D rendering provided by Lars Fitter, who is homeowner here. This structure on the left is the house that is now landmarked, and for which a facade easement, as I understand, the contract is ready for the three sides of the house, which would be the south side, which is the side of the house, the front side, which faces west, which faces Walnut, and it would be the north side, I believe, as well, which is also at least partially visible from the street. This structure here is the garage building that is under construction. This is the view as if you were down on Walnut Street coming back north, looking at the corner of the property. This is the back view of the house and of the garage building. These sides, the back side and these two sides, will not be visible from the street. So that's point number one. Let me put up some pictures here. This is a front view of the house when it eventually comes up. Oh, here it is, lurking down here. This is a front view of the house taken on the 3rd. So this is straight on the front view of the facade of the house. You can see the garage building, which has now been, it's got a foundation, it's framed, the envelope is there. The windows are not yet in, but they have been ordered. So that is the front. Let me look at the side view. This is a side view taken on Sunday, I believe it was this week. It's lurking down here. Okay, so here's the side of the house, the front of the house, and here is the view of the barn garage building. It is connected to the house by an enclosed conditioned space, or it will be conditioned. As I understand it, and Lars, please jump in if I misstate anything, it's the siding on this is going to be vertical boards that are going to be allowed to weather to a gray color. There is a front door here that will go in. I have a picture of that to show as well. I think it's in here, yeah. Okay. So this is what the front door will look like in that facade of the breezeway area. Let's see. There will be landscaping. To soften the visual appearance of the detached garage addition from the streetscape, they propose extending an evergreen boxwood hedgerow to the driveway entrance, and several specimen trees will be planted at strategic intervals. This will be the door in the breezeway that's visible to the streetscape. It will be, the surround of the door will be cedar shake and a natural finish. And this is the picture that we looked at from, actually, this is the picture taken on the 3rd, so there hasn't really been much change between the 3rd and then this week. So, the windows are 2/1, which is the same pattern as in the house. The size of the windows appears to me to be about the same size as the house windows. The windows in the garage structure will be black, not white. Is there anything else, Laura, you can add in terms of the appearance of this building?
No, with the door for the breezeway, we were
Could you,
looking.
could you come up to the front and grab a microphone, please?
I was just gonna say, Stephanie, with the door on the breezeway, we were looking to, that similar design to the front door that's on the house right now. So a divided light door that we currently have that was maybe visible in that porch. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, so it will look
So-
like that.
Similar to that, correct. That has like an old screen door, but the door behind it is a divided light interior door.
And the front door appears white, although the windows in the addition are going to be black. Will the door be black as well because it's part of the addition, or white? because it's-
We haven't selected a color yet for that door. So the door on the front of the house is a dark blue color behind that white door, which is a screen door, like a wood frame screen door.
So do you envision painting the,
Yeah,
paintings?
it's a paint grade door that could be painted. So if folks feel strongly, I could do the same blue color for the front door or do something else that, would fit the vernacular of the house.
Yeah. I mean, the way I sort of read this, many of these older homes had barns associated with them or other outbuildings associated with them. And they were often connected because if you had to go to the barn and the weather was bad, it's kind of nice to have them connected. So, I don't think that this particular structure is out of keeping with the kind of, property that we have here. I think the idea of allowing the wood to weather to a nice gray finish will, help it look like a barn relative to the house. Does anybody else have any comments or on this particular plan?
And the black trim windows, that's a done deal.
The windows have been ordered
Because
as,
the black, it makes it look so modern.
Oh, yeah. The windows are ordered. They're due for delivery on February 3rd. They're Anderson 400 series. The two windows that face the street side will have the 2/1 configuration. To follow the thread where Stephanie was going, we hired a local architect, Nicole Adams, Sag Harbor, and this is her design, and really purposely designed so it wouldn't look like the historical house, that it would have this modern barn feel. So you're not trying to marry new with old. So it was to show really the contrast between, keeping the historical, which we're not doing any work on, and then having this offset, modern barn building look behind it.
And will the garage doors be white, black, or
I was
cedar
thinking-
to match the siding and
Yeah,
weather? Or
there's two selections I'm looking at right now. I have not ordered the garage doors, but horizontal, either cedar or like a grayed ash type look. So, and I'm leaning toward the gray ash, just because, like Stephanie said, the exterior of the building is going to weather to a silvery gray look, and that way the horizontal wood door look will
Yep.
blend in together with that. So.
And your landscaping will be no taller than 4 feet it won't obstruct the southern view of the house.
southern view,
Which is-
the side where the,
Where you have the attached barn, so that's the southern side.
Yeah, this is
Elevation.
the south side
south side.
of the
yeah.
house. And your facade easement covers the south side of the house, the front of the house, and I assume the
And the
north,
north.
and the north side of the house as
Three,
well.
yeah.
Those have to remain visible, and the landscaping that, looking in from the street, can't be more than 4 feet high on the line of sight that looks at those 3 facades.
Okay,
That would be, that's in your contract with the historic, for the
Sure,
historic societies.
yeah, I just didn't know the finite details of it. So we were thinking to do what Stephanie and I discussed is in that area between the existing house and where the garage barn will be, in that plot of land you see in this 3D pictorial here, that we would do a couple of specimen trees in that area, so just to fill it in a little bit. But
Would
if
they be deciduous trees where the leaves drop, or evergreens?
we haven't selected anything, so I'd be up
Would
for
be
any
a
recommendation.
better,
Yeah,
versus an evergreen or something like that.
Right.
You're taking away the view, and that's what
Okay,
the easement's about.
okay.
and you did mention
many people
evergreen
do
boxwood hedgerow
Yeah, in the front.
to the improved driveway. If it's boxwoods, they're very slow growing, and, you know, they won't take over like privet or some of these other things, make walls of green.
So if you go back, I don't know if you want to bring up that photo from the front of the house. There you go. So we planted these boxwoods
Yeah, these guys,
like 3 years ago, and you're right, they don't grow too fast. And my idea was just to go as high as that little gate that we put in, so
yeah,
3.5 feet
Yeah.
tall. And that, my goal is to just have it go 3.5 feet and across to like where the driveway is.
yeah, they're very slow, and the deer don't touch them.
Yeah, we're good. So
So they're a winner.
just the neighborhood dogs like the piano. So.
So the roof looks like standing seam metal
No, on the new
on the new barn?
like an architectural asphalt sheet. So.
Oh, okay, because it has lines drawn on the drawings as if it were a standing seam roof?
Let's see. This here?
Yeah, these
I
lines,
think she was thinking that, it would be a standing seam roof. However, the cost of it, I looked at the cost of the metal standing seam roof versus asphalt shingle.
Yeah,
And
the
thought I
asphalt
had to
shingle
put my
would be
money
nicer.
elsewhere.
Okay.
How married to the vertical trim on the side of the window that extends all the way up to the ridge are we? I think that's one of the things that seems out of character. The massing of the garage fits the house, but that emphasis on the verticality just is almost a little disconcerting, where it's almost emphasizing in like a difference of scale, where if that trim were removed and it was just sided cleanly in the vertical board, it would just be much more quiet. And I think a lot of the concerns that people are seeing would like just disappear.
So the trim runs like that.
Oh, okay.
And I understand the building modern, but you're also.
It would still be modern because it would be simple. That's just, I see that there's that move on the back, and it's fine on the back, but just on the front, considering you're getting the historic easement for the 3 sides of the house, that just seems like it's a little bit extra and not really necessary, and it's detracting from the simplicity and modernity of the structure.
so you're thinking of essentially these 2 vertical lines on either side of the,
Yeah,
windows.
assuming that the siding module wasn't chosen with having those be crucial to fit the module,
So,
just having it extend all the way, it's just a little.
so are you saying,
It could either stop at the top window head, be eliminated entirely, and just be very like European modern, just very simple.
yeah,
And I don't think you don't need that extra oomph there.
yeah, I get what you're saying. I don't think that's a big deal in my mind. So where the windows are, you're objecting to.
Just put them clean in the vertical
so
siding that's
straight
weathered,
up
just
instead of the horizontal that's above and below those
correct,
windows.
correct, and not have that pronounced trim going from the ridge all the way down. You don't need to emphasize that verticality. It's a clean, simple volume. It'll be modern enough,
No
and
problem.
it'll just be quiet.
Agreed.
okay, all right.
And
So,
is the-
so we can eliminate those 2 vertical lines.
Change the trim
Just underneath the so all the windows to boards-
so that's singular siding.
So is sort of the rake board and fascia, is that also going to be cedar allowed to weather? Okay.
And so the garage doors are going to be ash. Are they actually wood doors, or
I think it's like a faux wood,
is this siding kind of,
yeah.
all right.
Not going to be glass and metal fire.
Yeah.
See,
Firehouse doors,
yeah, the glass doors that glow in the night.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, right, so we have the 2/1 windows on the front.
Did that for you, Stephanie.
Oh, thank you, thank you. And we have the wood door, which will likely be painted. We have the wood shingle surround. And it's all gonna be allowed to weather to gray. Any other elements here we wanted to discuss? Yeah, change the trim under the windows to singular siding,
Vertical board.
yeah, vertical board.
And eliminate the side, expose the trim.
Okay. I think I'll run the language by you before this goes out.
Eliminate vertical trim from sides of windows.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Trim
Microphone.
from sides of windows. Any other comments?
I'm kind of with Julie. I don't like the idea of black windows. I just, to me, it just screams 2020s. And in 10 years, we're going to look back and look at all those houses that have black windows. We're going to be able to tell exactly when they were built.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it goes with the historic house.
Yeah. The challenge right now is that they've already been ordered.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
The saving grace,
You
it'll
asked-
be,
you
it'll
asked
be
if
in
you wanted
weathered
to know
wood
anything.
instead of white.
What's that?
The saving grace is it'll be in weathered wood
Yes.
instead of white.
Yes.
So hopefully, and
So
especially
that-
since
yeah.
it is set back, hopefully it'll disappear. And if you're not doing that trim element calling attention to
So
it,
it-
hopefully it will just kind of fade to the background.
So the only two windows are facing the front?
No, there's a window also that you could see from the street. There'll be this window
Okay,
and then these two windows. Everything else is not visible from the
Okay.
street.
that's fine then.
Can I just go back to the landscaping comments? So with that area of lawn on the south side there,
Oh,
do
you
we
want-
want trees or no trees? Like, so they shouldn't be evergreen trees, they could be deciduous trees that drop their leaves.
Right, so part of the historic facade easement is that the vistas of those elevations is
Okay.
as we see it today.
Okay.
So if you needed some sort of a privacy or some sort of a containment area, it's not to be taller than 4 feet.
Okay.
So if you were gonna do some sort of hedge or something like that, it has to be 4 feet. You know, even in the front of your house, you can't let that grow.
Yeah, no problem there.
Yeah.
So I was just thinking for this infill area, what do I do?
Yeah. Would a few deciduous trees be okay in there? I mean, there
Yeah,
are
I mean,
existing
I don't-
walnuts on the
I don't
property.
know, I mean, you've been dealing with Dan McCormick, at CPF, and we didn't know about this,
Mhm.
this addition either, or at least Dan has explained to me from your dealings, that had not been told. So we need to know, we need to see what the plans were
Okay.
for that.
Okay. That maybe should be worked out between
Mhm.
CPF and
Yeah.
you as far as what the landscaping is. I think this board, as long as we're not obstructing the view of the house, and you know, we're not blocking everything off. If
Right.
there needs to be some landscaping to soften the visual appearance of the of the
addition.
garage,
Yeah,
That was the intent.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and certainly, I think boxwoods are great because they're just so slow. Yeah. Okay, if we have no further comments, we need a resolution to issue a COA for the garage that's under construction. The elements of which we are okaying would be the asphalt shingles on the roof, the architectural asphalt shingles, the change to the trim around the two front-facing windows to eliminate the vertical trim from the sides of the windows. The garage doors will have an ash wood look to them. The two windows in the front facing the street will be 2/1 windows, black. The door in the breezeway area connecting the garage to the house will be a wood door with divided lights, and it will be painted some color yet to be determined. And there will be wood shingles in the surround for that door that will be allowed to weather gray. And there will be wood siding on the outside of the garage building that will also be allowed to weather to gray. Any other elements here that we need to cover? Okay. So do we have a resolution to approve a COA for this garage building with those provisions? Okay, I'm seeing a nod. Okay, so we have, okay. Tim moves. Do we have a second? Susan seconds. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay. I will draft up a COA, and I'll run it by you, Tim, to make sure I've got the language correct. And then we will issue a COA for the garage building, which should allow the easement process to move forward. And then you can work out your trees with the CPF.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm Julie Green, I'm the town historian. I work with the CPF. so- Okay. Great. Have a nice evening.
Thank you,
Happy
Lois. All right. Very good. Moving back to our agenda, closing out what we have here. The next matter is 629 Dude Road in West Hampton. This is proposed demolition of an AYB 1935 dwelling. We have reviewed this and determined that this building was actually not built in 1935, but it was built at some point after the 1938 hurricane, and sometime actually after 1947, because the beach was still washed clean in 1947 in this area. So we have no jurisdiction over this one. We've passed on full review. Done. 59 Montauk Highway in West Hampton. This is the proposed demolition of the 1939 Casa Basso restaurant building. Julie, you want to talk about that briefly, or?
Right, so this is just the
You want
demo.
up at the, yeah.
The left seat, if you may.
Sorry. Left, right?
Left seat, I think you said.
My right,
My
your
other
left. Yeah, so the Casa Basso restaurant, which you're all familiar with, we've done a landmarking of the castle and all the statuary. I think that's one of the main concerns with the restaurant is there are some statuary built prior to 1937 that are in front of the restaurant to be torn down. God, I
I'm getting down there. There we
so
go.
there's our three-headed horse. All of these, this is one of the earlier statuary that he had done. Her name is escaping me at the moment. But all of this will be moved prior to demolition. I don't know if you all got my email, but everything will be moved and protected. That's also another Brower sculpture. And that will all be moved. Where on the property is all to be determined prior to the demolition. We're currently working right now, finding somebody to lift them and move them with the utmost care because they are just cement. They're his creation of cement.
So will the Casa Basso sign disappear, but the posts look like they're his posts?
The posts were actually the interior, so the interior of the structure no longer has the the winding staircase that was inside, and from my understanding, those are actually wood, and they were the bottom.
Newel post?
Yeah, the newel posts at the bottom of the stairs. And I don't know if they were painted the white and green, that most of the exterior, exterior lighting structures are on the same kind of painted. Those are concrete, but these are wood. That will be changed, that signage will be changed. We don't want anyone stopping in for dinner.
And there's also still the, what is it, Jerry's Cakery on the,
Yeah, all the signage will be removed.
Cancel.
There's no, that's all gone, she's left.
Yep.
Yeah.
Is the sign itself historic? Should that be preserved?
The Jerry's Cakery?
No, no, no.
Oh, the
just
Casa Bassett?
I don't-
Microphone.
I'm not 100% sure how old that is. The post for sure, the castle was built in 1902. So those newel posts could be from that time frame. I just don't know. We haven't really been able to do, and that's not my expertise. So maybe we could do a site visit if you'd like to come
sure,
and get inside the castle and take a look at everything else. The restaurant was originally, I believe, part or some of the kilns that he used, and then it was completely blown out, made into this much larger restaurant when Casa Basso took over. There's a little debate about when they moved in, but definitely in the after he died in 1937, I believe is the date that he passed away. Mr. Brower, the sculptor.
so then there's an ocean of pavement there, the parking lot.
Yeah.
Is that scheduled to come out now, or?
Not at the current
Okay.
moment. I think that they're still trying to, down, the long run, what this will be used for. It was bought under different CPF target areas, so we'll see. It's right on the water.
Yeah.
But the castle is being saved, as well as all the statuary. It's all been inventoried.
Yeah,
There are,
there's the parking lot, which is,
It's a beauty.
yeah,
It's a big one.
that's a nice
Huge.
view, right?
yeah.
Your interior, all the pictures really help, but the interior.
Microphone.
Lightning, so that. I mean, to see what, I'd never been in,
Yeah.
the interior pictures were enlightening. To see what actually, the condition it was in, that helped me.
And is
But I
there-
liked, of course, the other ones.
Yeah.
Is there anything in the
Had a
building that's
positive.
worth?
No,
Because the photos that were submitted looked
Yeah.
like it was pretty bad inside.
I've been in that building when they were having their final sale, selling off of all of their bric-a-brac and everything. It's bad.
It is.
It's really bad.
right, it was quite dated.
Yeah,
And hasn't really, I don't think it's been updated since it was Renee's.
Yeah,
Uh,
the kitchen was particularly frightening.
Frightening, yes. Didn't have the pleasure of dining there, but
Do you have any idea how this fellow sculpted those cement sculptures? Assuming it's got rebar all through it, but
yeah,
it's hand tooled.
he didn't, he wouldn't give out his secrets on how he did it. He actually made a concrete boat that floated right there on the creek. He didn't give out any of his things. He also did other sculpture too, but he became well known for this cement.
Well, there was a bunch of research
Materials.
during World War II, and actually they made a few concrete hulled freighters,
Uh-huh,
like Liberty ships,
right.
and they didn't work good. They floated okay, they wouldn't hold up to the engine vibration apparently.
Oh, interesting.
There's
Yeah,
one-
these are just little rowboats
They're
that he was
sunk all
making.
over the place. One of them's in Corpus Christi in
Yeah.
the bay. They never moved it.
Yeah,
So-
but he's very interesting too. He also did, I think I had mentioned he had done work in Florida for this development, which is the same. He's got alligators instead of horses, and pelicans and things like that, fitting animals more species from down there, but, and then if you've seen any of the statuary that's in front of the Eastport Elementary School, there's a statue there dedicated, so after World War I, he was commissioned to do these other statuary throughout the town and outside of Southampton town.
Painted?
Yeah,
Guess
for the
that's what
majority of them
last-
were painted. And unfortunately, some of them didn't hold up very well and were kind of crushed, and so we'd like to save as much of the statuary as we can.
Okay. I see no reason to object to the demolition of the restaurant building.
Right.
As long as the statuary is properly protected during the process, so that it has a chance of being salvaged and renovated and redisplayed.
Yes, yes. He had all the statuary originally was all along Montauk Highway, but when back in the 50s, I believe, 60s, they changed the path of the road, so all his statuary had to get moved, but it was, from postcards, it was all along. But we'll try and bring the castle back to its original. They put 3 apartments in that building, took out the staircase, but that'll all be put back together again. Yeah.
Okay.
We're determining. Yeah. Sometimes these get ahead because time is of the essence to save these structures, and then it's trying to figure out. Yeah.
Bill, since you drove out and took the photos, would you mind doing the response? Please. Thank you. Thank you, Julie.
Sure.
Okay, next application is 54 Hayground Road in Watermill. We are still, I believe, waiting for the construction application for this. We reviewed at the last meeting the demolition application for the front porch.
Haven't heard a thing, so.
Okay. It'll just stay on until we get the construction application from them. Okay. We've already covered 12 John Street, 159 West Montauk Highway in Hampton Bays. This was for a proposed sign replacement. This is another one after we reviewed it initially. We determined that we did not need to review the sign replacement. It did not fall under our purview, so we have passed on a full review of that one. 20A Ocean View Road in Hampton Bays. This was for renovations for a quite modern accessory structure that's associated with an older house. It's totally separate from the house, and we have determined that a further review of this application was also not warranted. So that we passed on that. 4 Beaver Dam Lane, West Hampton. This is the Rayner Fish House. We reviewed the sort of preliminary COA. We are now waiting for a construction application. They're going to run it through the building department. They'll be back here for a COA after the building department has determined what's needed. So stay tuned on that one. 533 David White's Lane in Southampton. Yes.
Great, it's North Sea.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, well,
Okay.
the application says Southampton, but it is North Sea. Okay. Basically, last time we looked at the proposed work on this house, which consisted of replacing the roof in kind and replacing the exterior shingles in kind. We determined that that did not require a COA, but they also plan to replace the windows, the trim, and the gutters and leaders, and that is the COA application that we have received. With that application, what was submitted was a schedule of windows, which I've looked at, Bill's looked at.
I never got a schedule. I looked.
It
All
was
I
posted.
had was,
Okay. The additional information was posted, I asked Renee to post it on the site.
I checked it a number of times, this is all
Okay. I tell you what, then, why don't I pass this down? Here you go. Bill and I have looked at this. All the windows are scheduled to be replaced with 2/2 full divided light windows, Anderson 400 series. I took a look at the existing windows, the photographs that they sent, which, did you guys get a copy of that as well? Or not?
I looked at some of the pictures that I took in 2015 from the interior. And because I didn't see this, so I couldn't make any comparison. At the rear of the house where the kitchen is, the back door was a sliding glass,
Right.
obviously a replacement. And the kitchen windows appeared to be replacements. And after that, from what I could see, they were the 2/2.
Yeah, these are the pictures of the windows that were just recently taken for all the rooms.
Okay.
If you want to pass those down, they all look to me to be newer windows, not
Okay.
original 2/2 windows.
Okay.
And some of them are 1/1s. The plan, as I understand it, is to replace all the windows with 2/2s, which is a better mix than what they have now. And then the door in the back, the sliding glass door, they propose to replace that with a door that has the divided lights in it, which again is more appropriate. The only change that I saw was, and you'll see it in there, there's a back door on there, the green door. That's been removed. And it looks like that wall is entirely shingled at this point. Now, I took a look at the report you did back in 2015 when this
Yeah.
was landmarked. And you noted in the report that there were a number of replacement windows, but there was nothing in there that said that there were any original windows.
Yeah, and that's it. I looked at them, and I don't have a recollection window by window, and Sally would have been there, of course, also.
Yeah.
But
Looking at everything they've submitted, it looks like we should probably issue a COA for these windows, because they are changing some of them from 1/1 to 2/2s. And they are changing the sliding glass door in the back to these more sort of French door looking things. But I didn't see any reason to object to this window replacement because I don't think they're losing any original windows, from what I could see.
so is this available now?
Yes, I believe it is available on the portal.
Okay.
You didn't see it? Okay. I will ask Renee to post it then. So,
No, it's helpful. So that's good. When I saw this, like I said, of course, you listed a schedule, an inventory, and
yeah,
so I made the assumption that we wouldn't be talking about it, but this is helpful.
okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. How do we want to proceed then with this if the board has not had time to take a look at the windows?
That was enough time, that's fine for me.
That's fine for you? Okay. And it's fine for me, but I've looked at them, so,
It's an improvement.
yeah, I think so.
What are they doing for up at the top in the gable?
The gable, that's the only one that, the two gable ends, they have like a 1/1 in there now, and then there's this triangle thing at the top, which I couldn't figure out what the relation, how that was, and I didn't see in that schedule of new windows anything proposed for that triangular area. So my guess is they may fill that in. We could request that be remaining.
No.
Leave that
Take it out.
No, I just wondered what they were. Are they putting a solid one in, do you think, or they just didn't?
It's not in the schedule of windows, and they didn't provide an elevation showing what that end would be. Peter, do we have anybody on the Zoom?
No one with their hands up, but there is Holly Hale Thompson here, but again, not with
Okay.
the hand up.
Yeah, this would have been Nicole, the architect here. Nicole Adams. Okay, let's see. Yeah. So. Yeah, so here are the exterior photos. Here's the windows that exist now in there, and looking closely at them, they don't look like, old windows. There's these little triangular things, and it looks like it has a little bit of stained glass in there. Either that or it's just a light shining on the wood frame. But that's what these windows look like now in what they're calling the loft. And the window schedule just shows a 2/2 going in here. It's fine.
And the little triangle is just staying.
I don't think the triangle is staying. I think it's just going to be square up there, because there's nothing on the window schedule that suggests that this piece is staying, and we don't have an elevation.
See anything new to go there in the schedule.
No, there's nothing new that I saw either. I mean, it is kind of weird because it's jammed right up against the trim at the top here. It's not, usually those windows are down a little bit and there's like a surround around them.
Yeah, I don't think that would have been original.
Yeah,
It's unique, but
it's unique, but it's not, it's probably not authentic to the tenant farmhouse.
They look so much smaller from outside. As
Yeah, it does.
we didn't go up in the attic. I think there was a ladder to access it. Also, did they mention what they were doing with the skylights?
Nothing about the skylights mentioned. There are existing skylights in the roof.
I mean, the couple there, they keeping them, replacing them?
I have no idea. It wasn't something that was mentioned as part of this COA application.
Okay.
So I think the only thing we can speak to is the window replacement, window trim, and gutters and leaders, which look like they're more or less missing from parts of this house. So I'm not hearing any objections to the proposed replacement of the windows. And I assume that the trim and the gutters and leaders should be fine. Okay, so we'll need a COA for this.
Just something to put in the COA might be that the windows should have similar head and side casings and historic sill detail,
Should have.
because the Anderson windows don't come with that.
So what is the wording on that? Windows should have similar head and side
Head
casings?
and side casings and historic sill detail.
Historic. So, detail, okay? All right, so the resolution would read, approve a COA for the replacement windows as shown in the schedule provided by the applicant. The windows should have similar head and side casings to existing and historic sill details as existing. And then the replacement replacement of the gutters and leaders and trim as needed is also approved. All right, do I have a motion to approve that resolution? Do I have a second? Aye. Second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, thank you. Very good. And I'll make sure that Renee posts the additional information. I send it to her, but I guess it didn't get up there. Or I will post it, either way. All right. 416 Montauk Highway, East Quogue. This was a planning board referral for a subdivision pre-application. The public hearing was on I think the 11th, it's already passed. This was for a 2-lot subdivision. The lot that's not developed historically looked like it had some sort of structure on it, but it was gone long ago and the trees had grown up. The structure on the other side of the lot is not going anywhere. It's in a conforming location, so there's no demolition proposed. So we have responded appropriately to the planning board on that one. And then 136 and 138 Old Country Road in East Quogue. Bill, you looked at this?
Yes, so we've reviewed this before. It came to us as a detached garage demolition application. We reviewed that. We had no objection to the demolition. We also looked at it sort of pre-approval for the subdivision and had no objection to that. It's back for final approval, and there don't seem to be any changes from what we have approved in the past, so I felt we should approve it at this time as well.
Okay, and we've already made that response.
Yes.
All right, so it's already done. That brings us to 53 Foster Avenue in Hampton Bays. Julie, would you like to talk about this?
The seat on your left, I'm sorry.
This one,
He wants me over here now.
yeah.
I prefer not to be seen. So this was a draft that I prepared after kind of getting Amy Paradise, who came to the last board meeting with all of her deeds and photographs. She allowed me to scan everything. So I have all of that, and I did list all the deeds that she gave the other night. So I have that. That is for anyone to take a look at if ever they need to know the southern end of Ponquag.
A lot of stuff.
Yes. So the subject property at 53 Foster Avenue is on the south side of Shinnecock Road on the northeast corner of Foster Avenue, as shown in the aerial photo below. That's from 2006. In the area known as Ponquag, the Ponquag settlement is delineated as follows from Bay Avenue south to the U.S. Coast Guard Station, including Shinnecock Road, Lighthouse Road, Wakeman Road, and Foster Avenue. It extends from Ponquag Ave south of Bay Ave east to Shinnecock Bay. Foster Avenue opened around 1860, which is the western side of the property, and is situated north to south and branches off Shinnecock Road near its terminus at Shinnecock Bay. The 1902 Belcher Hyde map has about a half dozen houses scattered along Foster Avenue, and the Foster family owned about almost every house and every parcel. The subject property was overlooked and not identified in the 2014 Southampton Historic Resources Survey, but according to family records, this house was built in the mid-1800s with shipwreck material salvaged from the beach. The residence has an AYB of 1840 in the town records. So these were some exterior, this is the west elevation, the front of the house. Clearly you can see a front porch that was a later addition. The picture on the bottom of that page.
I'm working on it.
Okay.
Sorry.
Shows the north elevation, and you can kind of clearly see this 1840 house that's there. It closely resembles John S. Foster's house, circa 1835, to the north, which is at 4 Wakeman. So you can see in yellow, I kind of outlined the main section of the house minus the bay window. And it looks like another Foster house built for John Sawyer Foster. This is on Wakeman Road. This house actually stood on Shinnecock, just about kind of across the street, but was moved back in the, I guess, mid-1800s for the house, a larger home to be built on Shinnecock Road. So the historic resources and maps identify the subject property. The Chase map of 1858, Suffolk County map, and the 1873 Beers map show the house is owned by John S. Foster's son, Edward Foster. The 1894 Beers map shows a change in ownership to Edward's son, George E. Foster. And by 1902, the property was owned by George's sister, Nellie R. Clark. So the one thing that's very interesting about this structure, being in the same family, we never see deeds. The house was built hundreds of years, it's in the same family, and we have no deeds. The Foster family were very prolific deed writers. Even if they were selling the property for $5, they wrote a deed, and it passed kind of back and forth between siblings. Which I found quite interesting in the deeds. I'm working on kind of who owned that piece of Ponquag in the original. I don't know if you all know, but we're working on a GIS historic layer on the GIS, which is all the historic divisions that were done throughout the town, starting in the 1650s, when we started dividing up all the land and who got what. So you'll be able to put in your home address, and you'll be able to see what division you belong to, what lot number you are in, and how many acres it was originally. So I was trying to get that for tonight to add to this of who actually owned this piece. It was not the Fosters originally, but the Fosters were early settlers here. So one of the first inhabitants of Ponquag was Wakeman Foster. That's Wakeman Road. That's named for him. It was essentially his driveway from Montauk Highway south to Ponquag. And he descends from Christopher Foster, who came to Southampton town in 1648. And he then is the great-great-grandson of Christopher Foster II, who was a Southampton town clerk from 1710 to 1742. Wakeman lived with his family at Canoe Place, but moved to the south side, as it was called, at Ponquag immediately following the Revolutionary War. There is a photograph of Wakeman's home built roughly around 1800 at 14 Shinnecock Road. This structure burned down in 1832, and the two houses that look very similar to each other, one at 4 Wakeman and the subject property at 53, were built probably around the same time. The 1838 geodetic coastal surveys shows John Foster's house on the south side of Shinnecock Road, but does not show another house. So there's the John Foster. So last time when Amy Paradise was here, she spoke about Alonzo Foster, who was the Civil War veteran who wrote about his family, the Foster family. He is the last son of, I believe she had 16 kids and raised them all in that house. And yeah, quite. So just a little bit from his book, it said about 1800, he, which is Wakeman, removed to Ponquag to a house built under the supervision of Rogers Squires, the timber being cut from the surrounding forest and hewn for beams, rafters, and sills where it fell. The boards were sawn at the sawmill, situated a half mile to the south of the house and near the shore of the Shinnecock Bay, known as the South Side. The mill had 4 immense sails, the motive power being the wind, which is interesting. The magnificent summer residence of Judge James Carter now occupies the site formerly covered by the old sawmill. So just kind of south down Penny Lane there must have been where the sawmill was. If we measure distances, it's mile-ish. So about the subject property, the gentleman that, the foster that most likely was the gentleman that built the house or had the house built for him, kind of under the same supervision of Rogers Squires, was Edward Henry Foster. From the earliest records, he was born in Ponquag, one of 14 children. Sorry, I added 2 extras. 14 children to John Sawyer Foster and Phoebe Penny, the true pioneers of the South Side settlement, having cleared and cultivated a large farm on the point. Edward married Mary Grace Bellows in December of 1840 in Hampton Bays, and were the parents of 6 children who later inherited or purchased the land amongst themselves. Edward's youngest brother, Alonzo, served in the Civil War and is memorialized on the 6th New York Cavalry Monument at Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, after which he wrote reminiscence of and record of the 6th New York Volunteer Cavalry, an account of his first-hand wartime experience in 1892. Alonzo also penned a family record of the Foster, Penny, and Squires family in 1895. Most of the Foster's occupations relied on and revolved around the water, whether as baymen, fishermen, boat builders, and waterfowl sportsmen and guides. It was stated in Phoebe Penny Foster's 1881 obituary that many inhabitants of Southampton, Bridgehampton, and Sag Harbor stayed at the Foster home, along with the 14 children, visiting Ponquag for the purpose of duck shooting on Long Point. So Ponquag Point, where we now have the bridge and the Coast Guard station, was called Long Point at the time by the family. So the entirety of the Ponquag Point was owned by the Foster family, and in 1857, after some dispute over land use, John Henry, who was Edward's brother, sold acreage to the United States government for $100 an acre, which was quite high in those days, for the erection of the Shinnecock or the Ponquag Lighthouse in 1858. I attached in the report, which I thought was really interesting, that Edward Foster sold to his son Charles Freeman all his equipment, all his farming tools, horse carriages, harness, boats, fishing traps, and outdoor movables of the party of the first part. So for $100, he sold him everything. So again, not giving his children anything. They were big into sales and purchases, and but what's interesting, and in the things that I copied from Amy Paradise are letters from the United States government about them selling the 10 acres for the Shinnecock lighthouse, which is now where the Coast Guard station stands. So there's a photograph of the lighthouse from the 1930s in the report. But there was some dispute because they wanted to keep the fishing rights around and any seaweed collecting and anything. They wanted to keep those rights, and the government was like, no, we're not buying it. So they must have made some sort of a deal. And the Coast Guard, the lighthouse was erected in 1858, and sadly only stood for 90 years when it was demolished in 1948. The federal government had no more use for the lighthouse at the time, and it's such a shame because it would have been a great historical resource here in the town. And one of the sad distinctions of the lighthouse is that when it was built in 1848, many the reason they built it is so that they could prevent some shipwrecks, but unfortunately when they built it, most of these ships were out for 2-4 years at a time, and the John Milton wasn't given any heads up that this lighthouse had been built and was working. So when they saw it, they thought they were at Montauk, and they took a hard left after the lighthouse and grounded between Bridgehampton and East Hampton, and that's when the town inhabitants really pushed. Now this is 1848, 49, and they were really pushing to get some sort of a more federally sponsored life-saving cruise. So that was really the impetus. The loss of this ship and its crew and passengers really pushed for that. It didn't happen until 1870, but they started it, so it took them a good, quite a bit of time before it was really set up. So there's lots of history to this point, to the erection of the lighthouse, to now the Coast Guard station being there. So the application for this landmark designation of the property is being sponsored, I believe, by the Hampton Bays Historical and Preservation Society, along with Amy Paradise. So this is not being brought by the owners of the property, and it's. I guess if the home was to qualify or be a potential landmark, it would be under criterias A and C, maybe one or both. But as we can kind of go through some of the pictures that follow, it's possible that too much of its historical integrity is gone. So today, going with the theme of landmarking, so directly across the street at 59 Shinnecock Road is the Rookery. That is a summer resident of William and Isabel Skidmore. Isabel was a foster. That house is on the corner of Shinnecock Road and Lynn Avenue. It's right on the corner. That's a historic landmark for the town. And then the Nathan Penny Foster house, which is Richard Casabianca's house on Wakeman, that is a landmark as well. And we've also spoken to him about doing for Wakeman, which is the complimentary house that's also in his family, the Foster family. And there are many other houses on this little strip in this area of Fosterville that would qualify for, in my opinion, for a historic district designation. But that all being said, there's a lot of work that's been done. I don't think there's any windows that are left. Dormers have been added. The rear wing, that's the east, off to the east, has a gambrel roof and dormers. Those are not original to the structure, but as things evolved over, hundreds of years, of course, they added. So some of these things, like probably the enclosed front porch, would be considered historic now. Possibly the dormer at the front of the house, but there's really not. And then most of the additions that are really detract from its historic nature are all on the southern side. And because it's a corner lot, you see just about every elevation of this house. There's some sort of a greenhouse attachment. I think there's a hot tub in there, perhaps. That's all new. That was all kind of done in the 1980s. There was some of the chicken coops and some of the earlier little small outbuildings were removed, and in the 1980s they built a very large garage. That is a metal frame garage, not historic, kind of dwarfs the house a little bit. There is a small carriage barn that recently underwent quite a bit of restoration work. Barn doors were removed, windows were changed, doors were changed. So kind of the appearance of the little carriage barn has been completely altered. And then I kind of added, because currently the house is for sale, to show what's been going on inside the house. I don't know if we can get there, but
Yeah.
yep,
It's behaving
there
itself.
we are.
Yeah.
So that's the front room, those two white rooms. So everything's been painted white. The floorboards have all been taken up. I know the landmarking obviously is not within the interior, but it's been sadly. And then some of the rooms on the second floor have not been altered or have not been renovated as of yet. And it's hard to tell what's old and what's new. But those are all on Hampton's real estate
And it's
website.
currently for sale.
Yes. And that's where the reason for landmarking, we've kind of,
Do we know if the property owner is aware of this application?
that I don't know, but I know that Amy Paradise has been inside with the Realtor. I don't know if she, I don't know if the people, it's an LLC, I believe, right now, are out here. Not sure, but I have not been in contact.
My one comment is just stating the fact that it'd be helpful if we'd get the application for the construction on, I assume the carriage house was built before,
Yeah, there doesn't seem to have been any sort of applications, permits,
not even a building permit or,
not that I'm aware of. I didn't see anything online.
okay. Then-
Yeah.
Building department told me they were gonna issue, appearance tickets, but that was a couple weeks ago. To date, nothing's happened.
Yeah. So, so this is kind of now that we're a certified local government, but I'm not sure, how you all feel about the structure that's existing. I know that, that the Historical Society and Amy Paradise are keen on protecting this. Rightfully so, but again, I don't know integrity-wise what's left here. And it was left off the AKRF because they probably looked at it and had no idea, so.
Yeah. Well, it's also, there's a fair amount of shrubbery and trees and things along both streets that
Yeah.
front on here. So when, when I come down and go to the beach,
You don't see it.
you don't see it.
Yeah.
It's pretty obscured.
Yeah, you see a little bit headed north on Foster, but what you see is the garage.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But lovely garage.
What's that?
Morton Building, that's like the company that makes all those steel,
Yeah,
Yeah,
right, for horse barns.
yeah.
just for the record, from what I understand, AKRF did have the list of all the AYBs, so they would have known it was there.
There.
In a sense. I think the only ones that they may not have known is if they had the AYB and they were obscured someplace
Right.
and they couldn't see it.
Right, that's, I'm not sure, and I don't know what the criteria back in 2014 for that
Well,
survey.
then I think some of it had to do with follow-up with anybody local in Hampton Bays with the AKRF, and at that time, there may not have been a local person
Really
to say,
covering
oh,
Hampton Bays.
to go through it with the fine-tooth comb to get something.
Yeah,
So so some got listed if there was somebody locally on our board.
Right.
Researching it and trying to get it on, but if there wasn't a push.
Yeah.
But it would have been visible to them and they would have.
yeah, it's really hard to see the house. I mean, I
Okay.
had to kind of,
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, it is difficult to see. It has a very rich history, with its associations with, the development of the Ponquag area and the Foster family in Hampton Bays, and that's wonderful. And the original volume is still in there, although it's buried by later editions, and I don't know how much original historic fabric is left that's visible to the public. I mean, it's still got a shingled exterior, but the windows look like they're all replacements, and you've got the bay window added, et cetera. So
right.
it's really a shame that the historic integrity has been compromised. I mean, but with that said, many of these older buildings did have additions put on over time as families grew, et cetera.
Yeah,
So,
Yeah, I mean, if this house was built in 1840, as the AYB states, it was in the Foster family for 225 years. Um,
Well, 1840, it
1840,
left the
Oh,
Foster
s-
family in 1960s, so it'd be 120 years.
120, yeah.
120 years.
Right, I added that extra.
Yeah.
It seems like with histories like this, even though the buildings become obscure by all the alterations and coverings, it seems like there ought to be a way to preserve these structures and highlight what the building used to look like in an attempt to encourage someone else who comes along now or later and wants to buy the property, perhaps to go back
Put
and
it back.
back towards what it used to be,
Right.
even though you'll end up with, other than interior framing or something, you'll have no original parts.
Right. It's
But
hard
you-
to see, especially since they painted all those
Yeah.
and they almost look too perfect. I believe this back wing, although the second story now has this gambrel roof, I believe it actually, that original, because Four Wakeman had that same back wing on it, which they removed, the Foster family removed at some point. So they really were these twin houses. It's just. But it's the idea of the Fosters, this one family and marrying in Pennies and Squires, you really get the flavor of the settlement area and the people that live there.
Based on the history course, what you prepared, and just, if I was a family member, I would be passionate about saving the house. I mean, hands down.
Yes.
If I lived in Hampton Bays and I was familiar with that area and the Foster, I would be passionate, so I could understand. And historically, I see it, so then when it comes to the architectural part, but actually, we had that with another one that we've recently, discussed. There was some things that were compromised, yet it was landmark. But that was, the other one was with owner consent, and this one is not with owner consent. And there was another one that I had mentioned to Ed, and Ed was, and it's just his opinion, we didn't discuss it. He goes, oh, if we're gonna do that, it has to be 100% right, because it's the first one.
Yeah.
Flagship, CLG.
The first one isn't 100% right, you might set the tone for other ones to come.
we
And
might have
that
a
is
harder
the
time.
only thing that
Yes.
concerns me.
Yeah.
I mean, if it was just based on what Hampton Bays, the passion they have for saving it, I'd say, let's do it. But then we're not the ones that landmark, we only make the recommendation. And with a fabulous history, it's so impressive what you have there. But then it goes to the town board, and it's gonna go to public hearings, and
Is this the house?
Yeah.
so then,
Which is awful to say, but
Yeah.
in whatever order that goes in. So that's, not that we can look that far ahead, but if you know that the owner, is passionate about landmarking it, even though they have it for sale, then you would be, that would be,
And if not passionate, at least indifferent.
Yeah.
we have like 439 Hayground, is it 439 Hayground? Landmarking that so that the owner is selling it, but wants that house to be saved and protected, even though there may be something built on the property that, this is not with consent. Yeah.
Yep.
I think they, it seems to me that they did a little bit of work and then just, I've now just, I'm not sure what the motivation is. I shouldn't say, because I don't know.
When I first, I think, saw the application, and I looked at whatever pictures I could find in GIS, I was like, you know what, I think they were showing the renovated carriage house or something. I'm like, what is this? Because I wasn't familiar with that area. But then, you know, based on what was presented to us by Amy and what you've researched, of course, there's so many connections there. It's really impressive. So that's
Yep.
makes it more difficult. I mean, because there's a lot there. So.
How visible is that south elevation with the greenhouse from,
That's really the only thing you can really get a view of.
okay,
Yeah.
yeah. And this is not one where we could direct them to cut down the hedgerow.
Right. No.
So that the more appropriately historic aspects of the house could be seen.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a hard one because it has such a great history and such a great connection with Hampton Bays. But if we don't know what the owner's thoughts would be about this.
Right.
And
It doesn't, I mean, just from the work that they did on the carriage barn, doesn't seem that they're in
interested.
tune with the historical nature of
Yeah.
the property. That's just,
Maybe the appearance ticket will help.
what was that?
Oh, it's just the cost of doing business.
You hear want to buy a little house in Ponca?
Yeah, I don't mean, I guess I don't mean, as I was trying to say, if there was a property that came to us, it's not this one, it's located, let's just say Bridgehampton, well, you're already landmark, but anyways, it's in a non-landmark district, and somebody's going to demolish a house that is very visible, very well-known, and it's causing public outrage,
Yes.
because that house is going to be torn down. And we are able to landmark it and knowing that we're going to have a flood of people, demanding that it be saved. And maybe there would be opposition from the owner, but the number of people outraged by its loss might overwhelm that. But if there's
Right, and right now there's no imminent fear of it being lost, right? It's just for sale.
It's just for sale.
So it's not on anybody's radar other than, the group right here where you see a for sale sign go up at an old home and it's just dread, right? But this hasn't, there is no new owner applying for a demo permit
Right.
yet. So it will come back.
So I guess, what's the sense of the board here on this application? Do we want to just pass on this for now? Do we want to recommend landmarking to town board? I'm not getting the sense that we want to go in that direction, but we do need to, I think, make some sort of response to this application.
From my standpoint, I'd recommend landmarking. Even though it's,
Microphone.
Microphone?
I don't know what else you do. Oh. Yeah, so I'd recommend landmarking it, but even though we don't have a bunch of fabric that's visible left, it seems to me a shame to lose something that's got this kind of history just because its shape has changed.
And it's true that many buildings were added on to as families grew and, incomes increased, et cetera.
Yep.
So, it's just unfortunate that some of these additions were.
Seems like
What they
Hampton
are.
Bays could use a few more landmarks.
Yeah, I mean, there's, we're just talking right across the street is a landmark, so could be building,
Build something,
for,
some interest.
for this, yeah.
Any other points of view here, or support, or?
Landmark that or not?
I'd like to go see it.
Should we all be potential buyers?
No, I'm not.
No, I mean, go in with the realtor.
No. I'd like to see. Unfortunately, a month and a half ago, I
Microphone.
lost my glasses.
Microphone.
I lost my glasses, and I can't see a damn thing. And of course, I called the doctor, and the doctor couldn't see me till after Christmas.
Couldn't see.
So, yeah, right.
So you can't see.
Very good, Julie.
All right.
They couldn't see me because I
Okay,
couldn't see
so,
them.
I get a
so
little
jury's,
punchy at
jury's
this
out in
hour.
your point. your point of
Okay,
view.
jury's out.
Jury's out.
Yeah.
Bill, what are your thoughts on this one?
So, is there any possibility that we can go there and look at it, or because it's for sale and we're
It's
not
for
working
sale, I
with
mean,
a
I
realtor?
think it's asking the realtor to take a peek.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like there's anybody living in the house,
Mhm.
yeah,
So if there's nobody living in a house, you could just stop by and look.
yeah.
Right. I mean, I always like to get into the basement or the crawl space and look up and see what the framing looks like, and get into the attic and see, and then try and disassemble the building. When was what part added on to, and where is
This
the
was a house
original?
whisperer, or detective.
From the photos, that link that's in the report, for the sale of the house, there are a lot more pictures. I just chose, but I don't know how many showed any of the underbelly, so to speak, or if anything's exposed to get a look,
Right.
online. So it would have to be something, maybe we could set that up and have a visit.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah,
Online
I'm for,
already by the realtor?
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, those
it's online.
photos are,
And in fact, it was in the paper, I think, this last week. I saw it advertised.
yeah, they just do the aerial
Yeah.
Wait,
Yeah,
that's this
yeah.
far away.
cut out of the property.
yeah, so I'm for postponing it till we could just
Yeah,
Okay.
do a little more research and figure out how much of the original house is really perceivable through what
Yeah.
looks like layers and layers of
Right, because that one
additions.
photo of the white rafters, I think that's when you walk in.
Yep.
And then there's the little staircase, yeah.
Well, maybe,
like some, no, I shouldn't say, because I can't see. I was gonna say, it looked like a used car dealership.
Yeah, it's like a showroom.
Sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And on the, I guess the eastern edition, which was the back of the house, the gambrel, like that's all white with fans and, yeah. I didn't, so.
again,
but-
it's really not the inside, though, other
No,
than,
but the historical elements
yeah.
of the I don't know what's left. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, if we can take a look at the basement or the attic, we might see if any of those ship spars are still there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's another really interesting thing. The family, Amy has said that those were, found on the beach. So there may be boards and things that are something we've not seen. Yeah, maybe don't have Roman numerals, but have some other.
Yeah, just coincidentally, my house was built in the 60s, early 60s. But he put in real storms and screens, the old-fashioned kind, and everything was carved 1, 2, 3, IV, V, VII, to go to which window it went to.
Yeah.
So they were using the same technique.
Yes.
That's great.
Yeah.
Okay, so we will postpone a recommendation one way or the other on this till we have had a chance for at least one of us to go. Now, if we go make a road trip with a realtor, the potential landmarking discussion here may become more evident.
You don't want to say that.
What kind of pushback do you get from a realtor? I don't think I've had any experience with this. When a house is up, property's up for sale, what kind of pushback do you get from them being nervous about us coming to have a look?
Well, I don't think this is a first time that I'm aware of.
Oh,
I get calls all the time from realtors about what's the age of this house, but because, and I'm always curious what angle they want
yeah,
to
that's what I was
hear.
wondering.
But, I think they try and sell it as this old historic home and
Oh,
it's
okay.
lovely and wonderful, and then tunes change when,
And the wood came from the beach, from a wreck. That adds more
I've
to the
heard that,
story.
I've heard that from
Yeah.
about 20 houses, people
Right.
have said that, which could be true, but, you don't, one thing about ship's timbers is none of them tend to be straight,
straight.
so, you see a bunch of straight timbers.
I know,
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, so we have like a hole-shaped room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so, somebody here, maybe Bill, let's see if you can contact the Realtor and have a visit.
Yeah, I'd be interested to go look at it.
Is this,
I'm happy.
here we go.
Yeah. Oh, sure.
All right. 116 Montauk Highway, West Hampton. All right. This is the Methodist Church building in the original area of Union Place. 16. All right. Let's see, we have some. All right, I'll talk a little bit about the history, and then Bill will talk a little bit about the photographs, of which there are many, many photographs of this beautiful building. This is actually the third church building that existed at this property. The first church building was built in 1832. And we have actually a picture in the report of this building. That's what it looked like. And actually, the original one didn't even have the steeple on it. The steeple and the bell tower were added later. This was for the first Methodist congregation in the West Hampton area. The church was founded by Reverend Ezra Jagger, and the property was donated by his father, Deacon Cephas Jagger. And this was like Jaggerland here. There were many, many Jagger families. Yeah, Jaggerland. And in fact, it was the Jagger house, the old Jagger homestead, was like 2 lots over. It burned, and we had to go look at it before the new house was constructed there a few years back. But at any rate, the Jaggers go back a long way in this area. So at any rate, this church was built in 1832. And unfortunately, fortunately, the congregation grew over the years. And by 1905, it was too small for the congregation. They decided a new, larger church was needed. And so they built one. A groundbreaking took place in December 1905, and it was finished in 1906. And the people associated with it were local. There was an architect, Leonard Bishop. And the construction was by E.O. Fordham of Fordham's Mill, which is right down the road here, another town landmark, the first town landmark. A new parsonage was built next to the building. Okay, this is crapping out once again. I'm going to reboot you. Here it goes. All right, so this is a 1930 aerial photo showing the current church building, the original volume, which is right here, and then the parsonage, which is right next door, which is right there. At any rate, the church building that was built in 1906 unfortunately burned in January 1919. And the congregation, not to be set back again, decided to rebuild the church that burned in its original location. So Mr. Leonard Bishop was called in again to design the new building, which is basically looks a lot like the 1906 building. Cornerstone was laid in May 1919, and the new building was dedicated in November 1919, and that's the building that we're considering today. So it's a 1919 church building, And then there is a 1917 parsonage next door, which is a 4-square style building. And then there is a little garage in the back, which is also 4-square and maybe about the same vintage as the house. And don't tell me you bloody locked up again. I have to wait till I get this shut down and bring up the current pictures, of which there are many. Did anybody get a chance to take a look at Bill's report? Because that's where all the good pictures are.
The entire church building right now isn't the original building, it was added onto.
It was added onto, yes. And the addition, there's a big addition on the east side of it. The addition was built in the same style as the old building, so it looks kind of all of a piece, but yes, the addition is a newer, what is it, 1980, Bill? The addition?
Sounds
Yes.
about right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they did step the roof down and the wall in, so you can discern where is the end of the original and the beginning of that addition.
Okay, so this is a 2003 photograph of the building from looking kind of from the west end. This is the original volume in here to the tower, and then the east end is, the new addition is over there.
Yes. So there seems to be, well, there's newer shingles on the west end, but the hodgepodge roof line of that looks like that was added onto a little bit as well.
Yeah, this piece over here.
6 feet, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
There've been a number of things tacked onto here.
Right, then there's several additions on the back too, yeah.
Yeah. So there's the front.
Unfortunately, the stained glass windows have been covered with plexiglass that has fogged up, so the windows aren't as bright as they can be. From the inside, when the light comes in, the windows are beautiful on the inside. And perhaps at night, if you went by and the windows were lit up, they look good from the outside, but during the day, they look a little dull, so hopefully they'll use the maintenance award fund or something and replace the plexiglass in
Wasn't
those.
there work done on that tower recently?
Yes, it was reshingled.
Yep.
That tower was reshingled, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And this is an application where they would like to get a facade easement for the church building and also probably for the parsonage next door. So this is one that will go in parallel, the landmarking and the easement.
Did you say there was a carriage house?
There's a parsonage. Parsonage.
Yeah, yeah, and then a detached garage, yeah.
Yeah.
They applied to landmark the parsonage yet?
They're applying to landmark, well, the property, which includes the parsonage. It's all in the same lot.
Okay.
It's all in the same lot. All right. Let's see if I can get down to some of your pictures, Bill. All right. I'll just scroll through
Mm-hmm.
as long as it'll let me.
Yeah, that's the west end and that sort of double gable piled on top of each other there. Just doesn't look original.
Yeah. There was, the church organ was added in the back end of this, this sanctuary.
Yeah.
And I think some of that may have been to accommodate the organ structure.
Yeah. So the upper part might have been, because as you go a little further, we're gonna get into the mechanical equipment. There you are.
Yep.
They built a little roof covering over part of it, and the ductwork kind of goes in there, and it may go up through that taller part and into the attic up above it in order to feed heat and air conditioning into the larger spaces inside.
And all of this mechanical area is not visible from the street.
No.
In fact, the property line is very close here, so you can't see all of this stuff in the back. That's one of the Tiffany windows, by the way, this window right in here.
Yep.
All right.
But there are, and those are fairly small compared to the others. There
Yeah,
are some
it was
really
much
large
larger.
double and triple arched windows in there. Most of them dedicated to bishops and jaggers and all the
All the families.
families from the area.
All right, it's locked up again. There we go. I can close it. Cancel.
This was the same architect that did the Eastport Church,
Oh,
Oh, it is?
and also my great-grandfather's house.
oh. Well, that explains why those towers look very similar.
Somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, to be,
Newmar was the builder, right?
Again, the smaller gable there looks like an addition on the north side.
Yeah,
So this is on the back of the church towards the parking lot.
right.
But Bishop did this
So it
one.
looks like there's
Leonard Bishop
taller
did the
gable
architecture.
and then the
Yeah.
lower gable in
Yeah.
the front. They look like additions. And then to the
One
left
looks just
is
like
another.
maybe it's a vestibule.
But did,
Yeah,
That one that's
no,
furthest
I just, I
closest
didn't,
to us.
I
yeah,
missed
yeah.
that
So
part.
then
I thought
they did it
Bishop
again
was the-
here
he was the architect.
Architect.
added the ramp.
It was definitely Bishop that did Eastport. My brother's house. We have the blueprints, original blueprints.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, so this is the big addition on the east end.
Yep.
And here's the original volume here.
Right, and then this addition coming forward towards us with the
Sure.
ramp and everything.
This is all addition.
Yeah,
Yep.
but this again is opposite Montauk Highway. It's hidden by the parsonage, but definitely visible from the parking lot.
Right. Bam.
Stephanie, is the congregation growing or?
It's, the church is definitely, used, by the congregation. I don't know if the congregation itself is growing. They have a relatively young pastor. They have a lot of other things that happen there. It's a big, meeting place. Yeah. Yep.
No, just all the additions and things. It seems that it had nice growth along the way, but
Yep.
most of the churches out here
Mhm.
are kind of stagnated.
Yeah,
to be clear, the proposals to landmark just the church, the entire property.
The property, which, includes the church, the
Okay.
parsonage, and there's this little garage.
Because there was some confusion for me on, well, the other one we discussed, but that was 10 years ago that we didn't, it mentions property, we didn't specify it. There was another building on the property that wasn't landmarked. So David made the assessment.
It's very important to specify if it's the property or the buildings.
Yes.
If you're gonna do the property here, then I think you need to make some finding that the parsonage is historic as well.
Yeah, well, I think that they would like to find the parsonage historic because they're considering a facade easement on that as well.
Okay.
Or they would like the ability to consider that. I think the garage structure at this point, I don't know, it's had some changes to it.
right. There was a small addition on the back with a shed roof.
Yeah,
The garage doors are typical vinyl or whatever doors, not very attractive.
yeah. I mean, the only thing that really remains of that is its sort of four-square form.
Yes,
Yeah,
yep.
so,
And I'll just say this, because in comparison, there's one that we did not end up having the ability to landmark in Watermill, and a large house was built behind it. And I can remember when I think Sally did that map, there was a little shaded area that just included the 1700s house, the small one. So I can remember that being different, like not the property, just the house. So I'm just thinking to make sure that it's clear that
yeah. Well,
like 10 years down the road.
Well, it goes with the property, as I understand, but we would designate the church and the parsonage as contributing, correct? Or no?
You could look at it that way, as it's a small historic district. The property is a historic district, I guess,
Okay.
if you're gonna do contributing structures.
Or we would just landmark the church and the parsonage, and not the garage.
And then if they need an auditorium behind there, no.
No, there's nothing else. That's the only three structures. And these are the light poles in the front.
No, but if you landmark the property, then you get into the issue of, well, now building a new building on the property needs a COA.
Right.
If you just landmark the buildings and you're not touching those buildings, and you're building a detached structure, you don't need a COA for that new structure.
Okay. So then we would just landmark the two buildings, I think, in this case.
Okay.
Just in case they want to do something. They don't have any plans at least what they, when we asked them about it, they don't have any plans for additions or new buildings or whatever, but things could change. All right. So there's the organ inside the sanctuary, the 2 Tiffany windows on either side.
Pretty nice pipes.
Yeah. And of course it's locked up again. I don't know how much of this we want to try to get through. It's a very long document with a lot of photos, and I keep having problems tonight with this.
If you want to show the map in the beginning real quick, I didn't get a great shot of it for the recording.
Of the map?
Yeah, right there.
Well,
Or whichever one you talked about in the beginning.
all right. That's an early one that shows the church location then, in 1858.
Okay, whichever one you were talking about in the beginning, I didn't catch it, but
Okay.
good, thank you.
How about the 1916 map? That shows the, it actually shows the church location before it burned. And we don't have a map that shows the church location. I mean, it's the same location, but it doesn't show the church that exists now. You got it?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Let's see if I can just jump down to some of the later photos. Lots of stained glass windows. Oh, this is the foundation. My Lord, this thing was thick.
Right, where they had cut through the original foundation for one of the additions.
Yeah.
I guess they drilled through and then chiseled away at it.
Yeah, it was quite a foundation. All right, locked up once again. It's probably easier for those of you who've taken a look to take a look at the report rather than try to page through it with us, because it's just not working tonight. I think Bill, everybody after, Bill and I looked at it, I certainly would be of the opinion that this is worthy of landmarking. There's been a Methodist sanctuary here since 1832. This is the 1919, version. They've taken very good care of it. There's been a number of additions, but the additions seem to be sympathetic with the structure itself. The 4-square dwelling parsonage. Let me see if I can get. Oh, we actually skipped down to parsonage. There we go. There's the parsonage. It's a very plain. It's a very plain, straightforward building. No particularly ornament on it. No fancy windows. The windows are replacement. I think most of them, except for maybe the one up in the. Did we decide the one up in the little dormer up there in the top was original? Yeah, but I think that was the only original one left.
Yes.
Yeah, the others are 1-over-1 replacements, so
Yeah.
it's lost some of its integrity.
And there's only the one dormer.
Yeah, this is the only dormer. The other sides are just blank roof. So, but it is a classic 4-square,
Mm-hmm.
and this is of 1917 vintage.
Yep.
Still shingled, still has an open porch. I'm sure the asphalt shingles on the roof are not the originals.
You think?
Well, yeah, the originals are probably wood shake, so.
Yeah.
I think both buildings, with their history, their connection to their community, and their condition or historic integrity are worthy of landmarking. So. Do you want to have a motion tonight?
Sure, let's go for it.
Okay. All right. So the motion would be to landmark the church building and the parsonage at 116 Montauk Highway in West Hampton. Due to their historic community associations. I'll write up some language we can circulate and review. And due to their historic integrity and And this would be a recommendation conditioned upon them receiving an easement, a facade easement.
It says contingent.
Yeah, it's a contingent one, yeah. And I think, Bill, as I recall, they talked about going for the facade easement at this time for the church building and maybe at a later time for the parsonage.
They did, but it may depend on how much they get for the church. They may go for the parsonage now.
Okay. And they can, I guess that can be discussed with CPF. So, okay. So the resolution will be to landmark these two structures due to their historic associations with the community, their historic integrity, and subject it to receiving an easement offer, a favorable easement offer for the church building. Okay. Can I have a motion on that? Okay. You have a second? All right.
You should state who's making the motions.
Okay, I'm sorry, I'm writing out. Bill is making the motions, and Jeff is seconding. Okay, and all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None. All right, okay, I will prepare the resolution on that. And run it by folks, make sure we got everything okay on that.
Stephanie, is CPF aware?
I'm sorry, what?
CPF aware?
CPF, yes, because when they submitted, they sent a letter also. I had her, the person who's representing the church, contact Jackie as well.
Okay.
But I will remind
'Cause-
Jackie.
And I will too, because
Yeah.
I would like these to go smoother.
Yeah, yes. I think everybody would like them to go
Yeah,
smoother.
Yeah, we don't need years.
Okay. All right, that's 116 Montauk Highway. We have 65 Old Riverhead Road. This is where we're waiting for Ed to do
Ed's
the
report.
report. So that will be held over. 149 South Country Road, Rosenberg Spionk, has been designated as a landmark. There's an easement offer on the table. There's an issue with the hedge and staying out of that. That'll need to get squared away.
Yeah, that, he was given the okay for those evergreens.
Yeah, apparently,
You know, that, just from the point of view, because I was not aware that, I wasn't on that visit, so I did not know
what
you
was
have
said.
these trees, yeah.
Yeah,
and
I wasn't there either.
So he, cut the hedge down, great, but, for people that live in Remsenburg, you drive slowly, you paying attention, you're looking at all these beautiful homes. But when for the majority of the people that are going by this structure, they're in a car, right? And when you're driving westward, those evergreens you won't have a view of the house until you're going by it, and then you have, unfortunately, have to turn your neck to look at it. When the road is curving this way, you don't usually do that. You usually look where you're going, and sort of on the same, not as significant on the, coming eastward, but those, he was given those parameters, on a visit, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're just.
Let that work it out.
Yeah.
29 Dock Road, we're waiting for those windows to happen, which I don't know what's going to happen with those. North Sea Schoolhouse, have we gotten the final
Nothing.
invoices? No final invoices, okay, still waiting on that. Most of the rest, yeah, I mean, was it Sheila who was?
Sheila, who I dealt with.
If you can contact Sheila, it was somebody else that we
Yeah.
were working with. I forget the name, but.
But if Sheila can help move it along,
I can get her.
Microphone.
I'll give Sheila a call tomorrow, and if she can help us, I'll ask her to, and if she can't, then I'll let you know.
yeah, we'll need it's the final invoices for the work that was done.
Yeah, I know. I did the tour.
That's right. Oh, that's right. I'm sorry, I forget.
Dock Road, I think the extension expired. We only extended it for 1 year.
Yeah, yeah, we approved it on December 17, 24, just to extend it for a year, so yeah, we're expired tomorrow. Yeah, I have a feeling the work's not getting done anyway, so. Okay, in fact, I'll speak to him about it, see what the deal is. All right, I don't think there's been any CLG activity lately. I haven't heard anything on that. The report went in, and sounded like it was well received. Nothing beyond that. The final matter that I wanted to bring up was the Dick's Windmill. There it is. So, the story with the Dick's Windmill, it is a town landmark. We issued a COA for the work needed for reconstruction of the windmill structure itself. That was issued in, I believe, May of 2023. And the COA had it on it conditions for things that we still needed to review before finishing things off. Things like landscaping, hardscaping, lighting, and signage. Yes, thank you, signage. And since that time, there has been no submission to us about any of these things, and yet these things have come to pass. I have in my file, and I don't know if it was provided the Landmarks Board or how exactly I got it, but I do have an October 2023 landscaping plan that has, let's see if I can just pull it up here. Did I put it? Yeah, landscape, October 23 landscape set. And this shows the hardscape and the landscape and the lighting, et cetera, that they propose to put in. And I think most of it seems to be consistent with what I saw out there.
They just completed, putting in a bollard type fixture that's a eyesore, but it's next to the front door.
Sorry.
Yes, I was going to bring up that bollard fixture. Because I don't think it's dark sky compliant, and it's quite clear. I'll show you the backside. That's where you can see it. But we do have a sign here. We do have a sign back here. It's not finished yet. It says draft on it, but it looks like it's. I mean,
seems to be the thought is that's it's fading out. It's temporary.
Yeah.
And so what? I don't. We need to pull all this stuff together and get through this.
Right. It's basically at this point, we need to review what we've got here and issue a COA for the lighting, the hardscape, the landscape, et cetera. And just.
All that Christmas stuff is considered just temporary.
Microphone.
Yes. Microphone.
So the lighting that's currently on the exterior, red and green lighting,
Yeah.
and the window candles, of course, are all seasonal, and that's not considered a final plan for lighting the exterior during the Christmas season, but it was just an attempt to do something this year and come up with a plan. So it's my understanding from talking to the mayor that they would like to chat a little more about that.
Yeah. These lights they are definitely temporary. I looked at them. They plug into outlets at the bottom, and they're movable and removable. But it's when I saw this color scheme that I realized that I wonder how that ever got approved.
Well, we had the I had them put. Yeah.
Yeah. We've got this is the bollard light I think that you're talking about. This one right here.
Yeah, it's a dog.
Yeah, it's I think some of this stuff is not dark sky compliant, and we were very clear that in the COA that whatever lighting is proposed needs to be dark sky compliant.
The concern, of course, is that somebody falling off because there's no handrails on either side of that ramp going up to the door.
Right.
I had them put all those outlets around the perimeter and also had them put outlets under the windows on the interior to cover those window candles, to be able to plug them in without creating a interior trip hazard for maintenance, assuming, because we've had this come up with a lot of other places. So we try to get, Foster Meeker House is a perfect example. It has outlets under all the windows.
Right.
And,
So I think what needs to happen is we need to get these plans pulled together and get them reviewed, and so we can
Yeah.
issue a COA for the landscaping and the hardscaping and the lighting and the signage. And I was gonna ask Bill, since you did the last one, would you mind reviewing, I'll make sure you get the October 2023 landscape plan, and then maybe you can work with Larry in the village to sort this out.
Sure.
That'd be great. Okay. Does anybody have anything else for this meeting?
We're visiting the Stanford Timbers again Thursday.
Oh,
Kevin Durkin is gonna be there also, he's coming down. There's some other projects he's doing on the island.
What is this?
And Matt, is gonna be there. So if anybody wants to be there at 1 o'clock on Thursday,
Could you explain again, because I wasn't here last month, what you're talking about?
the 1690 Ocean Road house that was demolished,
Oh,
the pieces were saved for potential reassembly.
okay, so,
It's the Sanford house.
okay. 1690 Ocean Road?
Yeah, but it's not there anymore.
690
Okay.
Ocean, right?
yeah,
Okay.
It's not-
690.
I'm sorry,
690, yeah.
690.
But that's not where we're meeting at.
Where are you meeting?
I'll send you an email.
Thank you.
It's an obscure location.
Good.
Yeah,
Don't send it on
send me one
the, on
also. I'll
the
try
town
some.
email, because I'm not there yet.
Oh, yeah, personal email. How
You'd
how
be
many,
able to
how many
feel it.
people managed to get on the new town email? You're there, Susan, you're there, you're there,
I'm
I'm
not, I'll
there.
be working on that tomorrow.
All right, so the two of you are still struggling, okay.
I'm still not there.
Also announced we have a new clerical assistant.
Oh, yes, we have a new clerical assistant, Kristen, what's her last name?
Oh, gosh.
I,
Doherty?
No, I don't know.
yeah, I sent it out, Renee introduced her to me, and then I think I sent it out when I sent out the minutes or something or other, I included her name on the thing, so. Do you know when she's actually taking over that role from Renee?
Yes, he is.
But when?
Oh, when?
When?
I know she's being trained.
Yeah,
When,
Way after the new year.
when, yeah, I don't know what date she'll actually
start.
cut her loose.
Okay. All right. I've been still communicating with Renee, but
Yep.
she's copied on most of the emails. So we will have Christian with us.
Doherty.
Doherty?
Doherty.
Doherty. Yeah,
Yes.
thank you. We'll have her with us very shortly. Okay. Anything else from anybody?
Oh, yeah, I think we should give proper credit to the town of Southampton for the outstanding Christmas decorations they've installed in our chamber here.
There's a couple of reasons.
Find it.
Yeah.
My quick,
All right.
Maybe we
quick
could have
question,
a blog burning
we give
on-
this to David to get email access on phones?
Oh, we don't have to sign anything.
No, I checked, and because you're a board and you can't do your work without using your home computers, you don't need to get special authority. It's implied.
Yeah,
That's what it is.
Okay.
sweet.
Excellent. All
Oh,
right.
and also, we renewed our membership in the National Alliance of Preservation Commissions.
Oh, good.
So
We'll keep getting those
their
emails. and-
webinars are very interesting, I think.
They're good.
Yeah, they were fun.
Okay. All right, it's 9:31. Meeting adjourned.